at the top of the world. Hey everybody, I'm Jim Diedlow, host of JED in the Region Now, here from the Purdue Northwest Commercialization Center, AM 1230, WGG, and 104.7 FM. Also on a bunch of places on the internet, including in video on YouTube, Twitter, and on Facebook. Let's take a look at what's going on in the weather. You know what? For the next 5 days, there is an anomaly going on here. It is an anomaly of magnanimous proportions in that we have a forecast that includes 5 days of sunshine. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. ¿Cómo está? That takes us all the way through Sunday. And since it's not 420, is it? Oh man, I missed it. It's 425. 425. And with 5 days of sunshine, at least some sunshine in every one of these days for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. By next Tuesday, they're talking a high of 75 and sunny. So the doldrums, the seasonal affective disorder that is going through all of us. I'm telling you, about a week ago when it was sideways sleet and it was 26 degrees and I was outside, courtesy of Ironworkers Local 395, it all of a sudden hit me. I'm like, why do I feel kind of nyanya inside? You know, you get the droopies, or you just got just kind of the low level anxiety and frustration and a little bit of sadness. And I'm like, what is that? And then I'm like, man, it's been gray for, I don't know, maybe for like 7 months. And it's been cold and it's been raining. And all of a sudden you're like, you know what? It's sunny out a couple days. And all of a sudden, all of that changes. I think that's like the cycle of region life, just so you know. All right, so the high today and only in the 40s is here I am telling everybody what a great idea we have going on here with weather, but only a high in the 40s, let's say 47. But tomorrow, you got a high coming our way, and today, let's call it a high of 50, because it's going to be 47 along the lake and 53 in Crown Point, so let's call it right around 50. Tomorrow, high of 62. Say Thursday or Friday, high of 60. Then it cools off on Saturday, high around 50. It's kind of weird to give an exact temperature right now, because there can be a range of about 7 to 8 degrees between Whiting and Crown Point right now. As the lake is cold, the lake's really chilly in the 40s, and it keeps things cold right around the lake. And then you get away from it and you can warm up a little bit. Let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city, moving along pretty well. 80 going east and west, looks all right. The Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, could be worse. You got a little bit of conjunctivitis as you approach, come off the Steel Bridge, and then a little bit right at the merge, but really not too bad. Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65, US 30, and Klein Avenue. All right, I got a bunch of people today. I think Ronnie Ware of the Ironworkers is just going to stop by, and we're going to just say, hey, Ronnie, how you doing? Thanks for your work on the American Heart Association. The Hard Hat outing's coming up, and I originally had planned to play in it, but I'll just do what I normally do, which is just drive around and cause havoc and not play, because my wife's giving the commencement to Purdue Northwest students twice on Saturday, and she's like, what, you're going to play in an outing? You're not going to come see my commencement? And I'm like, yeah, honey, I'm coming to your commencement. Actually, I had forgotten about her commencement, and I said, all right, I'll play in a hard hat outing. I mean, come on, driving around with a bunch of, well, first of all, Billy Baker's playing, and, you know, he and I have been playing golf together since we were like 9 years old, so what is that, like 46 years ago, 47 years ago. So, you know, it would have been nice to see him out there, but driving around and playing with a bunch of union guys and union contractors, you could tell the contractors versus the unions, because typically the guys that are the contractors, once in a while they got to play golf to kind of like get business and move it along. And a lot of the union guys, they don't necessarily have to do that. They, you know, they're working. You know, you got, hey, Hey, local 41 member, pick up that jackhammer and knock out that sidewalk. Yes, sir. Okay. Hey, local 697, can you bend some pipe and give us some power over here? Yeah, sure. Hey, operator. Hey, by the way, did anybody notice on Ridge Road that at Ridge Road and 41, they are finally ripping up and replacing the worst tennis courts in America? And that is also the home of Gavitt High School's tennis team, as it is the Wicker Park tennis courts. Now, my wife, who doesn't know anything about construction or jackhammers, or I was going to say it, but I know what the local 41 guys are thinking. They're thinking, Jed, go ahead, say it, vibrators. Well, a vibrator is this really long thing that you stick in concrete, and it just vibrates. It vibrates the concrete so it fills all the places inside of where the rebar is and inside of the forms. But I lost my train of thought. Anyways, she noticed. I go, gosh, look at this, honey. And they have this big backhoe out there. And this massive you know what a backhoe is, where it has a big arm on it and it kind of rips the concrete up and lifts it. It's not really a crane. It's just got a big bucket on it and teeth on the end of it, and it rips things up. You've all seen them. As a matter of fact, I did make my wife laugh, and that only happens like once a week. And I said, look, honey, are you my mother? And there's this big backhoe there with this huge bucket on front just sitting on the concrete. And when the kids were little, we would read to them that story, Are You My Mother? Are you my mother? No, I'm not your mother. And the backhoe says, snort, snort. But anyways, they're putting new tennis courts in. And the wife even noticed, she goes, well, they left the fence in, so they must just be replacing it inside the fence. So I'm so excited to see that. I might even take up tennis again just to play along Wicker Park. And if you're hitting toward the south, and I've played there before, just when you get really angry, you can hit the ball over, and you get angry and you hit the ball over your opponent, over the fence, over the second fence, and it goes right onto Ridge Road. And I mean, you might cause an accident, but at least you feel better because you got rid of some of that frustration. All right, what else is going on? We have Ronnie Ware, we have Curtis Hill, the Attorney General. He's always good for something. And then we have Regina Biddings of Purdue Northwest. Regina and I used to do radio here in the mid-'80s, and now she is she's like second in command, or I don't know, right up there next to Thomas Keon of Purdue Northwest. We're going to talk about Purdue Northwest Day of Giving. And then Regina's going to tell us about her exercise regimen, because she has a very good one. And she explained that to me yesterday when I saw her. Hey, let's talk to, we have phone call there? Is that what you're saying? Oh, let's just see how Charlie's feeling today. Charlie, how are you feeling today?
How you doing, Mr. Dilo? Mr. Dilo, I want some changes. Remember John Anastopoulos used to call everybody an idiot?
I do remember John Anastopoulos calling everyone an idiot.
Yeah. Maybe you could set your race. Don't mention your hairy belly on radio, and don't sing on radio a lot.
No, I like to sing. I could refrain from talking about my hairy body.
Okay,
but,
thank you.
But I am going to sing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sing right now. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Okay, but don't mention your hairy belly. Every time I get up in the morning, my hairy belly. People don't want to hear it, Jed.
They don't want to hear it? What else don't they want to hear?
I mean, your hairy belly every morning. That gets sick me.
What do you have against hairy bodies? You know.
Well, I mean, your belly.
My hairy fish belly?
Yeah.
All right, that's that part you don't like. Well.
No.
Okay.
Don't get mad at me.
I'm not mad at you. It's just that, you know, there are plenty of us men that have hair on our backs and all over our bodies. And I think that we are a class.
And sometimes I don't want to tune into the station.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't want that.
Day by day, sometimes, I don't want to tune into the station, and people don't want to listen to it.
Okay, well, that's good to know, Charlie. You got anything else to comment on? And any other sunshine you want to bring to us?
So, when are you going to start your new radio station at your house?
You know, who told you about that?
You told the listeners.
Oh, did I? I thought it was a secret.
So remember what else? Irv Lewin?
I do remember Irv Lowen. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, and what else? Larry Peterson?
Hi, I'm Larry Peterson.
Yeah.
Hey, you're on the air, party line. Yeah? Anybody else you want? Wait, Anastopoulos. And you're an idiot. Hang on. Get out of my radio station.
Yeah.
That's
Anastopoulos.
There
was lots of old people at the station.
Yeah. All right, man. We got a lot of good people at the station, including you, Charlie. All right, Charlie, I got to go. I got to sing right now and talk about my hairy body. Thanks a lot. Talk to you. All right, I'm just for Charlie. Yankee Doodle came to town, riding on a pony. He stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. And then what else do we have? So let's talk about a couple of things that are going on here locally. Huh? You got anything on your mind? Call me, 219-845-1100. Spankety Wank Crankshank yesterday on the stock market, man. 425 points. It was down 500 at one point. And let's see, right now, when I was looking earlier, it was up about 50 overnight. But mind the music and the steps, and with the girls be handy. Yankee Doodle, keep it up. Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the steps, and with the girls be handy. All right, what else we got? So the market getting spankety wank crankshank. Now, I'm a little confused here on something that I would, if anybody knows the answer to this, give me a call, will you? And part of it is, who owns the Tribune now, you know? It's kind of up and down here. I'm not really understanding it. And that, all right, here we go. Here's what it says in the Tribune. So the reason that this is important in a local story is that the Chicago Tribune and the Post Tribune, you have a lot of the same articles in it, and whoever owns that must own this, right? So McCormick, well, anyways, I'll talk about that in a second, because, oh wait, you guys want me to sing a song real quick? I'll do another one. All right, it'll just take a second to get the lyrics to this, because this pertains to the next caller, and it says here, let's see, Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over, and you don't have to sell your body to the night. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or right. Roxanne! Channel 1, please, on local 599 phone line. Hey, Roxanne, how are you? What's going on?
Hi, Jim. Thanks for that introduction.
You're welcome.
I just want to make an observation. I listened a little bit yesterday, and as you remember, I called in before about Burley and the whole Tom McDermott and diversity on air.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that Burley wasn't on yesterday, and you replaced her again with another middle-aged white man for diversity.
Now, listen.
Just
first
an
of all,
observation. Just an observation.
First of all, believe me, after
I
what was presented, I got to...
And I didn't want to get another point of view from a middle-aged white man.
What do you have against middle-aged white men?
Nothing. It's my demographic, but I'd like to get another point of view.
Wait a second. So here's the deal. Charlie's against hairy white men, or hairy men, he didn't say white. And then you have a little trouble with middle-aged white men.
No,
I mean, what do you got against middle-aged?
I got divorced one, but I'm just saying, you replaced. I mean, we talked about it. Is there another person that you could bring on?
Well, let's see. What do we have today? We
Somebody
have
younger. Ryan's younger.
Yeah, hold on. We're doing that in the afternoons. You got to go to the afternoons. Sam's on from 1 to 3. He's 25. I've got a number of sports guys that are coming on in the evening, and none of them are middle-aged white guys. But I lost my train of thought on middle-aged white guys.
You know what? I just wanted to make an observation. That was it.
I just want to know what's wrong with me. I mean, when Billy Baker and I are sitting here, two middle-aged white guys, do you have a problem with that?
Show. No, you know what? I gave up with you guys back in high school. So.
All right. Well, I mean, I'll have to think about it. But in just in general, I mean, middle-aged white guys aren't like the worst there is. I want to
No,
talk
but
about yesterday. I want to talk about yesterday. Chuck Pullen is the head of the Libertarian Party here in Lake County, and he does have some somewhat reactionary thinking at times. And MX is all over the map in terms of middle-aged white guy thinking. But I mean, we have Verley on most Tuesdays, and she brings an aspect to WJOB, and that is really hard for a lot, or for some middle-aged white guys to take what she has to say. And I don't know why that is so difficult. I mean, I get guys that come up to me, I won't listen to you on Tuesdays, and it's a travesty to have her on Tuesdays. And I'm like, really? What's wrong with hearing other opinions? That's what bothers me. Do you have any comment, or did you hang up?
No, I'm listening.
All right. Well, do you just always be quiet while I'm talking?
Of course I do. I listen when people talk because I listen to other opinions.
Well, that bothers me a little bit. And I mean, I get so many people that you wouldn't expect come up to me and basically say I can't listen to someone else's opinion because it's not my own. And that bothers me. Because the one thing that WJOB is, and we are the guider of the spirit. That's all we are here, is that WJOB has a spirit of including all the voices in the region. And that's not going to change. Because if it does change, we're doomed. But as long as you leave it open and include all the voices, then I think we have a future. You close that down, we don't. End of story. You got anything else?
Right.
How's your life going?
My life's going great. I think you should read Mark Chase wrote regarding the opinions of the anonymous article that he wrote. And he had a lot to say about the information and the reaction to people in his anonymous article or editorial that he wrote. I think it was Sunday or Monday. And overwhelmingly, the racist mentality that he was talking about the few people that, wrote in about the...
Okay, I haven't followed that, and MX brought that up to me. What's the backstory on this one?
The backstory was 2 people in Porter County wrote into him because the Times, they said, was putting up their propaganda that they were pushing the agenda of black over white. There was a little girl playing, I think it was soccer, on an image, and they showed her, and she was black. And in the background of the picture, there were 99 people, I don't know if they counted them, that were white. And they said, why did you do that? You're putting your agenda forward, and Porter County is 99% white, and why didn't you show a white person in the foreground rather than a black person? And Mark Chase said, okay, come forward. You want to have, one of them said, I'd like to have a meeting with you. And he said, great, here's my address. Come to my office. And in my office, you're going to see 2 white kids, and I think he might have 2 African-American kids. And he said, first of all, I have a diverse family. Secondly, he commented that these people that wrote in typically, which doesn't surprise me, didn't sign their name. And how it was very interesting that they were very vocal about their opinions, but they didn't sign their name and didn't have, lack of better words, the balls to sign their names. And so when he wrote this and he said, we're not pushing our agenda. We're here to show both sides of the story. It was a little girl. And so he did this. And overwhelmingly yesterday he wrote that fortunately people came out to his defense and said, good for you. There were like 600 comments, 2,000 comments, 600 Facebook comments, letters to him saying, good for you, don't let these people, this is not the voice of the region, we are not racist, and so on and so forth. So it redeemed what they said and what they did in the Times, or what he did, and that these two people that wrote in, and I guess one of them did write in. There were two letters that came in again, but they did sign their name, and he's inviting one of them in to speak with him. And they were, saying that you shouldn't have done that, meaning put the black person in the paper, the black little girl.
Wow, I did not realize any of this. I'm in the middle of finals right now, so I'm kind of a little bit out of the loop than I normally am. So I'll tell you what, I will read up on it, and I'll call Mark Chase and see if we can get it tomorrow. And we'll see what's going on with that, and we'll see if we can't get Mark to call in. I know he's been on a number of other shows. I've only had him on once or twice. And we'll see what's going on. And at the base of it is, are we a racist? When I say about Verley coming in, no, hold on a second. When Verley comes in, I get the feeling that there's a few people that are doing it because of racism, and they don't, like black people. I get that part, but I don't even think it's fully that. I think it is just the way our society is right now. That if somebody doesn't agree with you, then they're a loser. You know what I mean? And that's, that's kind of how 20 or 50 years ago, you could have discussions between people who had varying opinions. As a matter of fact, Roxanne, what we do here now is not in vogue, where we kind of try to say, hey, let's talk about and take in all sorts of different angles. Most people have divided the world into you're with me or you're not with me. And that's the real danger. All right, I got to go. I got to take one. Thanks. We'll talk.
Okay. Bye.
Talk to you. Go to Rick on line 2. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Jed. The guider of the spirit, that's good to hear. Anyway, will you keep us informed about Gladys's lawsuit in Porter County over our auditor, our tax collector? That's kind of been a secret. I've heard nobody talking about it. But would you keep us informed?
So I don't know what lawsuit you're talking about. What is it? Give me a hint so I can look into it. I got
our tax auditor, I can't think of his name at the time. They have it was in the paper in the Times. It was 350 people that he's let have the homestead exemption, and these are wealthy people that have multiple homes. And John Patalis, that's who it was.
All right, now he's in Lake County.
He's in Lake County, right?
Yeah, you said Porter County.
Well, the court had to go to
Porter County. So
they hired him. Wait a minute. I got my.
Is that your wife?
Yeah, I got my lawyer. She's better speaking than I am.
No, hold on. I guess got a question for you. When you're on the phone a lot, does your wife talk to you in the background?
Not normally. Not normally.
Okay. Tell her.
But she. Wait, but here.
Hold on. Let me talk to your wife. See how she's doing. Yeah. What's her name?
Better.
Is her name Marge?
Tell her your name.
Yeah. Come on. Let's talk.
Mary King out of Highland.
How you doing?
I'm fine, but I'm fed up with this. We all pay our taxes, and I've had to file 2 audits in the last few years. And then I hear that this lawyer out of Maryville was hired to do an audit, and before the gentleman could get done, he turned in that he found out all these irregularities. I think it amounted to somewhere between $1 and $3 million. I'm not sure because I don't have the Hammond Times wrote it up, put it about 2 or 3 pages back in the paper. And I looked on the Porter County court circuit to see what stage it was in. They had a hearing 2 or 3 days ago, and that's all that's left in the Porter County docket. They don't say what happened, what's going on, or anything. And the elections are in a few days. How come nobody's heard anything? They're not even talking about it.
You know what? It's Mary. Did you say Mary?
Yeah.
Hey, Mary. You know what? You seem fairly informed, and I'll tell you what. I will look into this and see if I can find out anything about what's going on. Because, quite frankly, I think I remember a little rumbling of this a couple months ago, and then I haven't heard anything either. So.
Well, what's going on? What this lawyer out of Maryville alleges that was hired by the county to take care of this.
Okay, I don't know.
That people are receiving homestead exemptions that shouldn't have them, and mortgage exemptions because they have had homes that were either left to them in a trust or in some other kind of legal way, and they acted like they borrowed money from family and claimed that that family that was the same as a bank and blah blah blah, and that other people had an opportunity because they knew certain people in the county that they got homestead exemptions that were not legal.
Okay, all right, Mary, I will look into it. I don't know any of the details that you're talking about, but do you?
Well, I can
hold on
you,
a second.
hold on a second. Because I've had to file at 2 different times tax appeals in my house.
And how did it go?
And every time.
Did you? Hey, wait a second. Hold on. Slow down. So after you filed your tax appeals, did it bring the assessed valuation of your home down?
Yeah, maybe about not very much. The second time, no, I had her go through my house. I had the lady come in and go through my house because they were trying to jack my taxes up really high. And how this whole deal works is these people buy these houses, act like they're renting them. They rent them, act like they're living there. They get a divorce, and one of them stays in one house, and the other one stays in the other. And all you have to do is go through. Everything's online. People change their middle name, their first name. They change the spelling of their name. Then the computer doesn't pick any of this up. You know, I don't understand how this can keep going on like this. And nobody does anything about it. It's hidden.
Okay, Mary, slow down. All right, I'll take a look at what lawsuit you're talking about, and I'll report on it in the next couple of days. Okay, but what I want what are you and Rick going to do today?
We're going to have a blast today. We're going out to eat, and we're going to see up to the museum and look at a couple of things today.
What museum are you going to go to?
Field.
You're going to the Field Museum, so you like history.
Yep.
What do you like way back, like in prehistoric man history, or do you
It doesn't make any difference. Just history's history.
Okay. Well, hey, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you call me tomorrow and tell me how the museum went?
Sure.
Yeah, just tell me. I haven't been to the Field Museum in a while, and a lot of people haven't. Maybe we could just use a little report on it. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow then, Mary. Thank you.
All righty.
Talk to you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Fernando, final call, then I got to go to break. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Pretty good. How's everything?
I'm doing all right. You're going to call on what Roxanne had to say, aren't you?
How'd you guess?
I just had a feeling, baby. So what's up?
That's right, man. Oh, you were mentioning all these other people. So I was like, well, you know what? You have too many people on the right. You have Mr. Who'd you say?
Chuck Pullen was on yesterday.
Chuck Pullen, well, he says
you get that. I mean, Sam Michael in the midday, he's got some conservative tendencies. What's wrong with conservative? What is wrong with conservative thought, Fernando?
Oh, nothing.
Do you have trouble Do you have trouble as an avowed liberal of listening to other people's opinions?
No, I don't. But
okay, then why are you saying that I have too many conservative people?
Because you have too many. You have too many on the right, and you don't have any representation, really anybody on the left. You don't have any Hispanic people on the radio at all, and no Hispanic men, and no Hispanic liberal men. So I think you need to probably look into
should I go through tick off all of the Hispanic people that have been in the studio in the last month, or should I go out and hire and say, hey, listen, there's 3 people that are looking at this job, but since I need to hire a Hispanic, the 2 that are better, I'll hire the 3rd person that I think isn't as good. I mean, where do you win with that one? Do you put the best that you can find on the radio, regardless of race or creed or color, or do you hire by race or creed or color?
I think you make a little mixture of all of your little algorithms on that, and you come up with something that probably satisfies as much as you can. You don't necessarily need to get the best, but then again, how do you know if they're the best if they're not on? And you give them a trial run, maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
see how they go.
I understand the expressions of diversity, but they come in a lot of different ways. And one of the ways that I have tried to make it available that people can come on here and do shows and they can call in at any point. And this is as open of a radio station or a media company as you're going to find in America. Come, you got something you want to do, you want a show. Last night we had 2 shows on. One was I Raise Radio and one was pain, I don't know what, recovery through pain. And it's almost entirely African-American people that are on Tuesday night for whatever reason. And, I get the exact opposite of what you're saying. Like, oh, my gosh, why so much diversity? I just want to hear white people. So you can't win for losing. Really, Fernando, I got to go. I got to play some spots. I'll be right back. AM 1230, WJOB. I'm sorry about that. That's me. That's called Dead Air D-Lo. Be right back.
On May 8th, vote for Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz for Lake County Clerk of Circuit Courts. Andrew is a qualified Democrat and has 12 years of experience as a councilman in Maryville at every facet of government. Make your vote count with Andrew Silvestrowitz for Clerk of Circuit Courts. Paid for by Committee to Elect Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz.
I am Andrew Silvestrowitz, and I approve this message.
Come visit the Purdue Northwest Chess Gallery, where we host weekly events and monthly exhibits year-round. We are located right next to Frida's Cafe at 6725 Kennedy Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. Visit our website at chessgallery.wixsite.com/website for more details.
I'm Peter Kadick for North Township Board. Vote for Strong Experience. Endorsed by Mayor McDermott, the Northwest Indiana Building Trades Council and unions, and numerous precinct organizations. The best is yet to come. Paid for by Kadick for North Township Board Committee.
Everything Italian. That's what you get at Giuseppe's Restaurant in Cherville.
Hi, this is Joe from Giuseppe's Everything Italian. Here today to let our friends and listeners to WJOB know about the few things that we have added. We offer catering now, catering for your party, family event, or even for businesses. Just give us a call at Giuseppe's at 322-0011 and ask for Joe. Thank you.
Giuseppe's Everything Italian is located at 1000 Eagle Ridge Drive in Cherville, just north of the Showplace Theaters. 219-322-0011 or visit giuseppespizza.net.
Giuseppe's is now serving wine. I miss that part at the end. My sister used to do it, and my sister doesn't normally smile or speak in pleasant tones to me. She works here and keeps all of our books in order. And people that have worked here for a while, after a while they go, don't you and your sister ever talk nice to each other? I'm like, yeah, once in a while, at family gatherings, but, not in public or anything. So when I hear her voice, and it's such a pleasant voice, it used to be at the end of that commercial where they would go, Giuseppe's is now serving wine. And I'm like, oh, there's my happy sister. Hey, I have 51, cool, with clouds and sun. And tomorrow I have 62, partly sunny. Friday I have 60. And Saturday, a high of 51, mostly sunny. And then right now, it's 42 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. And this is a big day. It's Wednesday. It's not Prince Spaghetti Day. It's not Hump Day. It is a day where you can get chicken breast, all natural, boneless, skinless, for $1.79 a pound. This is that Sanderson Farms really good chicken at Strachan Van Til. For $1.79 a pound. Gonna be eating chicken all over the region. You know what else you can get? You can get a DiGiorno original thin crust or pizzeria pizza for $4.99 each. And you can get Coca-Cola 2 liters for 98 cents a piece. And that is at all of your Strachan Van Til locations. Same great quality, same low prices. Prices effective, advanced, and now this one is at some of them Strachan Van Til, Indiana's grocery store. So I'm a little confused. Is this for just the Hammond Van Til? I don't know. That's what it says here. So maybe we get the Hammond paper, and I gotta believe that these are stuff that's at all of the locations. How about O'Brien's corned beef flat cut, $1.99 a pound? All right. let's talk. We started to talk about weather there, but it's 42 degrees here at Strachan Van Til Studios. It is 41 degrees in Portage at local 395 of the Ironworkers. And then it is right around, 43 degrees at local 41. Talking about traffic, 294 around the city is moving along pretty well. 80 going east and west looks good. A little bit of harassment at the merge going from the Bishop Fort to the Dan Ryan Expressway, but it's about normal. So if you're okay with normal, you'll be fine. Maybe even a little lighter than normal. And you will have some stop and go at the merge, but if you can handle that, don't pay the money. And Skyway and Toll Road, if you do want to pay the money, are both moving along well. So is the Borman I-65 US 30 and Klein Avenue. He is the business agent?
Yeah, business manager.
Business manager. What's wrong with business agent?
Same thing. Just another agent representing our guys.
The only problem I have with business manager is that you go say when you're on a job and you say, hey, man, well, the BA came by. And everybody knows what that is, right?
Yeah.
But if you say BM, I mean, anybody who's worked in a hospital at any time knows what that means. You know what I mean?
It could stand for that, too.
You know what I mean?
Right.
How's your BM? You know what I mean? Like if somebody comes up to you and you're like, say, in local 150 of the operators union, and they come up and they say, how's your BA? And you say, he's doing all right, But if they come up and say, how's your BM? Then he might say, well, actually I'm having a little trouble right now, and I'm thinking of going to the doctor. It's a funky color. I'm sorry. He is Ronnie Ware of Ironworkers Local 395. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Jim. How about you?
Hey, remember when we worked at Wicker Park back when?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that since we worked there in the 70s, they haven't redone those tennis courts.
I heard you talk about it. No, they're probably still the same.
They were the same,
yeah, but
right?
Where we were working, we worked in the maintenance in the park, and I worked there later on at the batting cages and the miniature golf course that's gone now. So a lot has changed.
Yeah, so noticing that they're putting those new tennis courts in yesterday was really nice, man. I was glad to see. No one told me that was going to happen or whatever. But, I mean, there's two things to note. Is that when they put that concrete in, because it was a concrete tennis court, at least on half of it, they put it in right. I mean, to keep concrete there for 60, 70 years, you got to put it in. There's probably a lot of rebar in there. They probably put it in kind of thick. And it was able to last a lot of years. But the second thing is, what took them so long? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were a little rough. It'd been a while.
I watched Gavitt. Alexis and I walked around there yesterday. We walk around all the time, and Gavitt would be having their matches there. And I'm like, wow, this is not Crown Point. This is not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How long you been BM?
Going on about 4 years now.
Going on 4 years?
Yes, sir.
When's the next election?
We just had one last summer.
How'd you do?
I'm still here.
You're still here? You're still having a pretty good BM experience?
Every day.
Wow. Hey, man, I got the hard hat outing coming up, man. Tell people what this is all about.
It's a chance for the building trades, the crafts, ourselves, the unions, and the contractors who put us to work to get together. And we make a point of trying to reach out to the customers and the facilities where we all work. Just a day of networking, getting together, a chance to spend some time together. And a secondary result of the outing is a way for us to raise some much-needed funds for a bunch of local nonprofits. So it's a great day. This year, I am the chairman. The chairman rotates between a labor representative and management. There's equal numbers on the committee, labor and management. And this year, we've got 4 nonprofits that we've chosen as a committee. Last year, we were able to give away $10,000 to, I believe we did 3 nonprofits last year. We added 1 more this year. So great way to support the communities we all live in and work in.
Make-A-Wish, Boys and Girls Club, Down Syndrome Association of NWI, and Chasing Dreams. I know all of these. Chasing Dreams is what, do you know?
That's a facility in Maryville. Denise Babjack, I believe, has been here.
And wait a second, I've probably interviewed her.
Yes, you did.
And I know Denise, and I should probably not ask questions about. But anyways, Chasing Dreams is what is it exactly they go for, or who do they serve?
Serves primarily Lake and Porter. They don't, they'll take anybody from Jasper, Newton also. Primarily is Lake and Porter County residents, children up through middle age, kids with disabilities, learning disabilities, handicaps. It was primarily an after-school type of setting. They've gotten larger, and to accommodate more parents, working parents who need that support for their kids, they have now started to open up during the day also on a limited basis. So, great organization.
Speaking of open up, obviously I've got 4 main trade unions that have supported me. Ironworkers, where Ronnie Ware does his BM every day. I'm one of them. And, one of the things that's always been a tradition amongst the unions is to support local charities and to support local causes and to raise money and to be out in the community, but not tell anybody about it. Okay? And, I mean, it's kind of like, I guess, it's old region meathead mentality of, hey, if you're going to do something good, you don't want any attention for it, just do it and, shut up. And I've tried to prompt some of the unions to get a little bit more vocal about, hey, listen, we're raising money for this charity, not because we want to tell you how great we are and what we're doing as unions, but it also prompts other people to kind of get involved and so forth. So, the unions are, especially with the hard hat outing. And I know that a lot of unions were involved in the American Heart Association on this last thing. We'll talk about that in a second. But it's part of the way to give back to the community, but also to prompt others to get involved. So if somebody wants to help with these charities, is there a way to give some money to this, or how can they get involved?
This is primarily the building trades, crafts, the contractors that fund this through sponsorships and that kind of thing. It is a nonprofit.
It is a nonprofit
entity on our own, but built for doing this kind of stuff.
So, who is Ted? Is he with you guys?
Ted is with Grey Corps. He's vice president of Grey Corps.
And he's involved in the committee.
He's co-chairman.
Let's talk to Ted. Ted, how you doing?
Good morning. How are y'all doing this morning? Good?
We're good. What do you do with Grey Corps?
I am a construction manager and business development manager. Been with Grey Corps now for over 23 years.
And what does Grey Corps do?
We are a constructor. We build America's industrial base. Steel mills, power plants, petrochemical plants. We love all the dirty stuff.
Really? You got guys in the mill that are right now have a bunch of grime up and down their overalls?
Absolutely.
And they're working at all hours.
All hours of the day, and getting ready to do a massive project for BP, and they're expanding their facility over there as we speak.
So you're getting a lot of work up in the mills and in the refineries, and cool. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this outing now. When I first heard about this many years ago, it seemed just a little bit odd that the contractors and the trade union guys would get together and just kind of get to know each other. And if I remember, I don't know if you guys still do this, but you kind of sprinkle out contractors with union guys, right?
Correct.
And some contractors play with union guys, and there's clients that come, end users, and so forth. Everybody gets together. So, Ted, what's the whole meaning behind all that? Why do you put all these guys together?
We actually want to entertain and show our appreciation to our customers that union construction is there to service them. We appreciate their business and want to continue that. They're part of the community just like we are. We have a good working relationship, and we want the next generation to understand that Northwest Indiana is a place to live and work for the future.
Good working relationship. What do you mean by that?
Well, the good working relationship means that we minimize our animosity. Yeah, we'll have differences, but we're working together with the unions to service our customers. So, when the work comes about, we hire union people every single day, subcontractors, equipment suppliers, tradesmen. And we're there to service, the ArcelorMittals, the U.S. Steels, the NIPSCOs, the BPs, on the commercial side and the hospital side, the schools. So that's a very positive message for the community, and we want to show appreciation. Our customers come, and we place them with contractors and union members, and they come at no charge. Everything is sponsored by our two groups.
What's the level of, Ronnie Ware, you've been around since what, like in the union, since what, like 86? 86. There hasn't always been a spirit of good working relationship. I mean, there's spates, even when, I think I started in the union, I got my first permit in 78, and it was almost like, you were supposed to hate the company. It's not like that anymore.
No, it's not. The environment's different, Jim. We as agents, let's say of the building trades, we expect our members to go to work and do a day's worth of work for a day's pay, and in the end, hopefully working with our contractors, the customers that we're working at, like Ted just spoke, the hospitals, the steel mills, the refineries, that they see the value that we, the members, and the contractors bring to them by doing quality work, getting it done safe with trained workforce.
Ted, we're talking to Ted Vrehas of Great Core. Ted, it's a battle out there right now. I mean, you guys have to, sometimes compete to clients with non-union contractors. What are some of the messages that you tell these end users of why they should use you as a union contractor?
Well, starting with safety and quality, both the unions and the contractors are committed to a safe work environment, and that extends all the way down to the apprenticeship schools within the union. So what is safety? Safety is part of, you got to get trained on how to do things in a safe manner and a quality manner. Well, the union environment provides that, because when a tradesman comes out from a different craft, they're trained already how to do their craft and how to do it safely. And then, with the contractors, we're providing a solid resource pool of labor, to get the work done. And you're not trying to hire 3, 4, 5, 6 people to find that one person that may know how to turn a wrench or use an impact or, how to pour concrete. We're bringing people out that are already trained how to do this the first time. That's a solid message, and one that they know that the job will get done in a timely manner.
And by the way, out of all those that get trained, I just want to mention that it's the laborers that are trained the best out of all unions, just so everybody knows. I'm sorry, Ted, I came out of 41, so there's this minor thing going on here.
I'm sure Kevin will appreciate that.
Yeah, hey, listen. Hey, I got a question for both of you guys, all right? Ted and for Ronnie Ware here. What is a hydraulic excavator?
You'd probably have to ask the operating engineers.
Okay, do you know what that is, Ted?
Well, of course I know a hydraulic excavator, but we use those all the time when we're digging up our utilities in our ground on our excavations.
Okay.
Sometimes you put a bucket on there, sometimes you put a breaker on there.
The Paul from Hassey, what is Paul? He's a laborer, right? Yeah. He says, that vibrator thing, that real long vibrator thing that you stick in concrete, to vibrate the concrete around so that it fills up all around the rebar. It's always just been called a vibrator. Is there any other more technical name for it?
That's the only one I've ever heard on the job site.
Yeah, okay. Well, he said it's a hydraulic excavator, and I always thought a hydraulic excavator was a little bit different.
I was thinking backhoe like Ted, something
yeah,
along those
something
lines.
like that. So was I. Hey, listen, Ted, anything else about what's going on here? It's Saturday, May 5th. It's going to be at White Hawk Country Club. You've got, end users. I think my buddy Bill Baker's going. He's an end user. You've got a bunch of contractors like Gray Core out there. I know a number of the electricians will be out there. Since there's so many that are part of certified electricians, I try not to mention any specific ones, but I know at least a half dozen that'll be out there. And then, of course, you got all the trades guys. Ted, do you play golf?
Yes, I play a little golf. Love the game. And this is a nice way for people to get away from their working days. This year we're doing it on a Saturday out of Whitehawk. And it's going to be a great day. It's a little bit early in the season, but what a great way to start the season off. It's been cold, and now the weather's starting to break, and it's a really good time to get out and say, okay, summer's coming. Let's go have a little fun with our business partners and, have a little breakfast, maybe a drink or two, and let's get the spring and summer going.
All right, well, I'll be out there hanging out early, and I'll drive around and hit a few shots with guys, and it's always a great time to be out there. Hey, Ted, thanks a lot for calling in. Anything else you want to mention about this?
No, we appreciate our clients. We hope more will come out. It's on a weekend. Ronnie Ware's done a fabulous job, and we really take it to heart every year where we're raising money for the nonprofits. That's really important to help those that are in need. And it's part of our message, as well as appreciating our clients.
Where'd you grow up?
Thanks for you guys' time.
Ted, where'd you grow up?
Actually, I grew up in Munster, right along the river, and now I live in Dyer. So I've been a lifelong resident of the region since 1972.
Hold on a second. How old are you?
I just turned 48 last week.
So you grew up where along the river?
Right by Beach Park.
Right by
Fairway and Beach Park.
Right by Beach Park, huh? Back in, so you went to Elliott.
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right, man. Thanks a lot for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Ronnie Ware, Ironworkers, Local 395. So, hey, you're a pretty busy guy right now.
It's busy. There's a lot of stuff going on.
American Heart Association. Let's talk about that.
It was a great event. Ryan Riethel was the chairman. He did a fantastic job. Ryan reached out to, and the Heart Association main committee reached out to some of the building trades. Myself, Dennis Haney were on the executive leadership fundraising team. Great cause. My personal experiences have had a number of family members. My father, my father-in-law, along with others, have suffered from heart disease. So it really hit home with me. And had great support from people like you, Jim, and WJOB helping us out, and in turn, the Heart Association reached out to our contractors, other vendors that we deal with. It was a great night, and Ryan, as the chairman from 697, did a great job putting that on.
He really did. And I was surprised, and it was pretty heavily attended by a lot of the different trades that came out.
Yep.
And Riethel, for a union guy, he almost carries off the black tie thing,
He did. He knocked it out
Typically,
of the park.
union guys put on a black tie, and they look like a union guy in a black tie suit. He looked like almost like an executive. He looked like one of the guys that has worn one of those before.
He fits the part. He did a great job. Going back to your comment earlier about, for years we just did our business as building trades and the things that we were involved with, the nonprofits and that kind of stuff. It was just some of the stuff that we did day to day, helping people out and quietly went about our business. And for years, we didn't do a good enough job promoting ourselves out in the community and our contractors that employ us. So our involvement with you guys here with WJOB and in other places, trying to get that message out like this, the hard hat. Ryan and myself have been here with the Nazareth Home. There's things that we're all involved with, representing our crafts and our members and trying to help out the communities.
I guess there's a philosophical, maybe a shift that's going on, and any of you longtime, tradesmen will know what I'm talking about. In that, it wasn't really viewed that unions are competing with basically non-union contractors around here. I mean, it's just, all right, if a big job was going to come about, whether it's in the mill or it's BP or any of the chemical places or any public schools or anything like that, that automatically it's going to be a union-based contractor. And for the most part, it is around here because unions-based contractors do the best work, and people know that. But there's also a kind of like it's a competitive stage, and personally, it's gratifying to me to see not just that you guys are supporting me, and I know that some of you will interpret that way, but I think in a larger sense that unions and union-based contractors are finding that, hey, you know what? We need to get that message out. We need to band together a lot of times to show that union-based construction is the way to go. And I'm glad to see that the shift is going on.
Well, like you said, it's a competitive environment out there, and I'll put our guys up against non-signatory employers and workers any day of the week. The value that we bring, we're going to finish a job on time. It's going to be done right the first time, and we're living in and amongst these communities where all this work is happening. So I think there's a plus for everybody.
You got it. Ronnie Ware's coming in, and the Hard Hat outing, any construction guys that are thinking about going into it, or any of the end users, make sure you do. It's a lot of fun. Some of the union guys aren't very good golfers, but there's also some contractors that come out that are really good golfers. So it is what it is, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, man. Anything else?
No, all good, Jim. Thanks for having us.
All right, like always, thanks a lot for supporting WJOB and all we do here. Thank you so much to the Ironworkers.
You bet, Jim.
All right, guys. We got one more call for Ronnie. Now that we've said all those nice things right at the end here. Hey, you're on the air. What's going on?
Good morning, Jeff. Tony Rodriguez. How you doing, brother?
Trod.
What's happening?
What's going on?
Well, I was just curious. I was just at a coalition meeting of minority contractors that are non-union. It was in Illinois, and they were talking about, which I think would be an interesting topic, they were talking about the construction of the Barack Obama Library in Chicago. And a lot of these minority coalitions who are non-union are trying to bid on some of the work that's going on there. And I know that there's a little bit of a disparity between union and non-union workers, and I understand everything that's being said regarding, the quality of work that comes out of the union halls. However, I'm curious to see what, or to hear what can be said about minority contractors bidding on jobs, especially something as significant as the first minority president of the United States of America, and how they can work together with the unions. And I see all these union halls popping up where they're having the hall is right next to the training facility. They're popping up all over Maryville. Looks beautiful, looks fantastic. But doesn't it behoove the union workers or the union halls to work with non-union contractors to get more people in the hall? Because I know some people that work in particular unions, like Scaffolding Union, for example, where they don't get a lot of work. And so they have to travel down to, Missouri.
So your question is, what is the relationship between union and non-union contractors? All right.
Doesn't it behoove the union?
Okay, I got you. We'll take that. Let's talk about that. The relationship, you want all contractors to be union contractors, right?
Well, yes. And in order to put our members to work, and I want to state that project is outside of, and I'm speaking for Local 395, that is outside our territory.
It's in Illinois.
We have a number of minority contractors that are signatory to the Ironworkers specifically, and they bid on projects just the same as non-minority contractors. And we try to do everything we can as a craft to encourage the minorities to reach out to the urban areas and under federal guidelines, do everything that we can to reach out to all classes of people. Advertising in the paper. We do advertising here with you. 2 or 3 papers. We did a Facebook blast that shot and targeted demographics from 18 to 32. And there was no disparity among classes. It was just that age group here within Northwest Indiana. I think we did a 6-county blast and had a great response. And then there's the interview. There's a testing process that is mandatory. You have to pass an entrance test. It's a 70% passing grade. And then from there, we do interviews. And I know that other crafts are the same and function the same. A little bit different, but everybody has that goal of being inclusive.
Part of it is just like trying to get police officers. You have to have the candidates that show up and, both as minority contractors. But I noticed when I was out with you guys at the Local 395 hall and the guys were taking the tests, it's pretty diverse crowd that's coming through there. And I mean, that's all you can ask for is people to come up and be part of the union.
No, absolutely.
All right, let's take one more. You know what? We got to end. I got Curtis Hill coming up. Hey, Ronnie, thanks for coming in. All right, guys, I'll be right back.
My name is Ernie Dillon.
My name is Joe.
My name is Bill Emerson Sr.
We are veterans supporting our fellow veteran, Rich Novak, for North Township Board.
Rich is experienced, dedicated, hardworking, and professional.
Remember, vote on Tuesday, May 8th.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect a vet, Richard J. Novak.
JED's Garden Family Restaurant, located at the corner of Klein and Ridge, is Griffith's locally owned family restaurant with a down-home feel and made-from-scratch favorites you will love. Open daily from 5 a.m. to midnight, JED's has you covered with breakfast omelets, salads, stir-fry, seafood, and steak sandwiches. In addition to our award-winning lemon rice soup, 4 additional soups are served daily. Along with our recently expanded spirits menu, Mondays are half-price margaritas, and Wednesdays are $1 off domestics. Mention WJOB for 20% off your order. We'll see you at JED's at the corner of Klein and Ridge.
Ironworkers Local 395, through their contractor employers, the Northwest Indiana Contractors Association, are the workers you see building Northwest Indiana. They are the craftsmen building your schools, hospitals, malls, steel mills, and manufacturing plants. They support local charities, including Tradewinds and Chasing Dreams, and they coach your kids after work and on the weekend. They live, work, and contribute to all of our local communities' economic growth. To find out more about these organizations, visit ironworkers395.com or nwicontractors.org.
Men, are you taking Viagra or Cialis for ED? ED should not stand for expensive drugs. If you're taking Viagra, talk with your doctor about Sildenafil. Now you could get the same active ingredient in Viagra in generic 20 milligram tablets for less than $2 each, saving over $30 per dose. Available at Vito's Pharmacy. Call us 219-228-7200 or visit us at vitоспharmacy.com.
Vito's Pharmacy.
John Salzader, candidate for North Township Advisory Board. I am fully qualified, experienced, and will bring a new face and new vision to your township government. Elect John Salzader, S-A-L-Z-E-I-D-E-R, on May 8th, Democrat.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect John Salzader.
I know what you guys are thinking, that just because the sheriff's candidates have a bunch of billboards all over and they're in the paper and stuff, and they're not buying any advertising here, doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about the race. I will. And Ryan, let's see if we can get them in here for free. As many as we can, calling in maybe a 10-minute or for 7 or 10 minutes, something like that, just to introduce themselves. We're also trying to get the 3 Republican senator candidates calling in because they are, nobody really knows what's going on with that, especially local Republicans. You're going to go into the ballot box and you're going to look at 3 names and you're going to go, well, Todd Rokita, he's a local guy. Mike Braun, he's a businessman. And Luke Messer is some sort of downstate congressman. I mean, I don't know anything else really past that. I mean, I know Rokita personally. And Mike Braun, I know a couple of his buddies that he went to college with, and that's it. But I don't know anything about Luke Messer, so we need to try to get those guys. What? Mike Braun. Ryan says he plays. It was Ryan Braun, isn't it? He's calling. All right, yeah. So we got one of them. We'll try to get Rokita and Messer too, because Walt suggested that yesterday, and I think he's right. I don't know anything about them. If I don't know anything about them, there's got to be a lot of local people that are going to be making relatively uninformed decisions. So I'll try to get all 3 of those on. And then I'll try to get some of these sheriff's folks on just to get some sort of an exposure to who the different people running are. All right, hey, let's take a look at 294 around the city. Looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford coming up the gut of the Southland, 115th on up to the Dan Ryan. Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue are all moving along well. Thanks a lot to Napleton. River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. And they're on Torrance Avenue in Lansing. And what do you have in terms of the weather? Let's say it is, You know what? Why did you guys shut all the window or pull all the drapes down, huh? The what do you call those things? No, they're the shades. Why'd you pull all the shades down? You know, when we developed this thing, Superior Engineering around the way here was working with Purdue Northwest, and I spent, I mean, dozens of hours, if not hundreds, but dozens of just kind of fighting with the design guys because I said, listen, I want the WJOB studios where a ton of Purdue stuff happens to have these windows, and I want them all to be part of the windows. And the engineers, we sat down and they said, well, you're going to have the sound is going to be bad here, and people come in here and they're like, why are the walls at weird angles in here? Well, we had to like do these little diagrams of like when I speak, when anybody speaks, where the sound is going to go off the wall and how it's going to go around here. You can't have a square room, so you have to have angled walls. And two of the walls are not angled, so the other ones have to be angled. And I fought with them because, you're going to hear the street. And I'm like, so what? You hear the street? I don't care. We're right on Indianapolis Boulevard. Who cares? Your light's going to be bad because the sun's going to always be changing and going behind clouds. I'm like, I don't care. I'm a slightly overweight, middle-aged white guy. Whatever light you put on me, I'm not going to look that good. So what's the difference? All right, we're good with that. So we finally got all of these windows here, and I fought with the engineers, and we got it the way I wanted it. And we come in here, and these guys pull the shades down today. The whole thing is to have it so I could see all the big trucks coming by. Anyways, that's enough. 219-845-1100. What do you guys want to talk about? I got a few minutes before Curtis Hill calls in, and I'd like to hear what's going on in your guys' world. Have you guys been thinking about the elections coming up in the primaries? If we're talking about a 16 to 20% turnout of registered voters, not everybody's registered, so we're going to have, less than 1 out of 5 people voting? I guess it's still a lot of people, and it's still a lot of impact. That just means that if you are voting, your vote is worth a lot more than you might think. Anyways, let's talk. 219-845-1100. Let's go to Deb on the 599 phone line. How you doing, Deb?
Okay, how about you?
What are you going to do today?
It's a secret.
What do you mean it's a secret? What, are you getting a colonoscopy or what?
Oh, hell no. No.
Why, hell no. Me neither.
I think Fernando was trolling for a co-host spot, Jed. And I wanted to bring up that gal who called in about the taxing issue and the homestead exemptions and all. I don't think she was referring to an article. I think she was referring to, media follow-up on this. Because, I even think it might have been someone in Gladish's office who was handling something to do with that case. But it was a long while back.
All right, I'm going to look into that. I have no idea what they're talking about.
I'm kind of... The media follow-up is very... it lacks, in the area. How do you think Palmatire's first little DUI got away from us all? Nobody followed up in the media. That's an official in some capacity on the RDA or what have you. And then the same thing with the Martinez incident. I can find no follow-up on any of these things as to what, I think we need to have follow-up rather than omission in the media. I think it would help us. I think that's what that gal was saying. Nothing's in the paper.
So, all right, hold on a second. We try innovative things here at WJOB, and one of the things that is typical is that you kind of talk about breaking news or things that's new. Mm-hmm. Why don't we do something that is totally not done anywhere, and let's just talk about stuff that happened a long time ago.
But there's no follow-up, and it's ongoing.
When you get a news story, hold on a second. When you get a news story and you talk about it, and it's all talked out, nobody's calling anymore or commenting on it, then why would you bring it up? I'm missing the point.
Pardon me?
In other words, if something happened a long time ago and it kind of exhausts itself,
But it's not complete, Jed. It has not come to a conclusion. Or the conclusion has arrived, but it has not been in the paper. That's my point.
Well, here's the thing. I'm here every day opening the phone lines. If there's something you want to talk about, you call in and talk about it. But I'm not gonna. I don't think it's the media's responsibility to comb through 4 years ago of stories and say, hey, why don't we talk about this again? You know what I mean?
Well,
that's an unrealistic expectation. What's that?
I think follow-up is necessary.
Yeah, I mean, on a story that has new things, people come to me and like I got to teach these guys. Well, what do we do here on this story, or how do we handle this? The different talk show hosts. I go, well, is there anything new on it? Well, no, there's nothing really new on it. Right. Well, then why are you talking about it? You know what I mean? And so if something new comes out, other than that, I think you're telling me that you want me to go at something that you think's really important that happened a long time ago.
Well, no, let's say an elected official, Mr. A, okay, there's charges pressed and what have you, and it's followed through till so long, and then it says, well, it's going to the trial now. And then you never hear anything. That's not right.
Well, I mean, I don't know how accurate that is. Typically, trials will get covered and commented on, and
typically, unless you're in a preferential group.
I think you're looking for something that you're looking for, like, well,
that gal spelled it out.
Spelled what out?
That there was no follow-up on this homestead exemption. This fellow.
Okay,
who was,
I don't even know what she's talking about, so I will look into what she's talking about. But you make it sound like, oh, the media just doesn't want to follow up on things because there's a preferential group.
Well,
give me an example.
I just did. I gave you 3.
You gave me an example of a homestead exemption story that has something sordid in it. Okay, I remember talking about the story, and I'll look into it again because she's asked about it. But it's not because there's people in a preferential group.
Well, that's what she pointed to.
Well, no.
They changed their names and this and that. And
How about this? How about this in this life, huh? How about a little personal responsibility? Something you want to talk about that you have done homework on and so forth. These phone lines are always open. You have Facebook, you have all social media, and you have all of the access to all of the information that you want to learn about. But just because it's something you want to learn about doesn't mean that it's news, and it doesn't mean that it's the responsibility of someone to carry your agenda.
Well, it's news to a point, and then it just seems to drop off the radar in some instances, we'll say.
Take some responsibility, Deb. You could go.
I gotta get a JED notebook, huh?
You gotta. Thank you. Talk to you. Bye. There it is, 7:12 in the Calumet region. Speaking of which, I will be right back after. Well, I'll take one more phone call because we've got Curtis Hill. Hey, can you grab me all my newspapers? You took them away from me. Here they are. All right, there you go. There's something in USA Today I wanted to talk about, but let's talk to Mad Mac. How are you today?
Jimmy D, your dad came out with elbows a flying last night. You're gonna have a little family powwow, little discussion with that old man. He's getting a little rough. Little D-Lo intervention, all right? Tell him, hey, listen. Just because you're about to be 80 one of these days doesn't mean you have to remove somebody from the planet who's younger than you, all right?
Do you think that's any different from when my dad played for Purdue Calumet Pipers over here in 1959? No.
The dirty tricks out of the D-Lo family must have come right off the freaking boat because you guys all play the same way. Although I will give your brother Brian, he wasn't there last night, but I will tell you what, if that guy put on 100 pounds, he would still have all the deft, tactical basketball moves of the all-conference player he was. I mean, he just, all of a sudden the ball is like right past your ear on its way through the net, and you're like, Jesus, I had like 8 hands on the guy, and he still makes them all the time, though, so what can you do?
Hey, what time is that? At 7:30?
Yeah, we changed the time. Yeah, we're going 7:30 now.
And how many people did you have?
Last night, maybe 24, I think, total.
Yeah, 35.
Yeah, we were exhausted, man, because we didn't have enough. Well, everybody goes, 24 people. What are you gonna do, man? Well, we were full court all night, so it was hard to get breaks in.
On two courts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what's on your mind?
Running gun all night. All right. Hey, quick. When you had the couple, the lady called about the tax issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, you need to get a hold when you start looking into that. You also need to find out why the lady who's the head of the election board, named Michelle Feynman, why did she get homestead exemptions on rental property she had? It was somewhere anywhere between 5 and 8 rental properties. She got the exemption for 15 years. And then when it came up, either Patelis or Katona, as they were switching shares, as they do for the last 8,000 years down there, keeping each other in a job, why is it when the issue came up, she didn't have to go retroactively go back and repay the correct amount on the taxes? They just go, oh, did you check that box by accident, Miss Feynman? That must have been it. How would I know? I'm so busy counting my money, I didn't check that box. And subsequently, I ripped off the Lake County taxpayers for hundreds of thousands of dollars, of which, hey, you're not going to make me repay that, are you, Johnny, buddy? Because we're all on the same team here.
All right, I got to go. I got to go to Curtis Hill, buddy. I'll talk to you. I'll be right back on the voice and face of the region in 15 seconds with Curtis Hill, the Attorney General of the state of Indiana.
I'm Peter Kadick for North Township Board. Vote for strong experience. Endorsed by Mayor McDermott, the Northwest Indiana Building Trades Council and unions, and numerous precinct organizations. The best is yet to come. Paid for by Kadick for North Township Board Committee.
All right, guys, AM 1230, WJLB 1047, the voice of the region. I'm Jim Deedler. You can see us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can also listen on the TuneIn app and, of course, on the terrestrial radio. Quick update on traffic before we go into this interview. 294 around the city, moving along okay, except right past the Stevenson, you got a tight spot. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, right at the merge, is getting a little bit dicey, and on the southern end of the Dan Ryan. So it's a mild watch to Bishop Ford right now. As you approach Jane Byrne, though, it's about normal. 35th on in, it gets tight. And then Skyway Toll Road, Barman, I-65 are all moving along well. Hey, let's talk to the Attorney General of the state of Indiana. That is Curtis Hill. Mr. Attorney General, how you doing today?
I'm good, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Got a lot on the docket here. Where are you calling from this morning?
I'm in Indianapolis, the capital.
All right. Hey, let's talk about a few things. What's a red flag law?
Well, a red flag law is a provision that allows the police in the state of Indiana to identify individuals that they believe are dangerous to themselves or dangerous to someone else, and in that particular situation, remove their firearms under the provisions of the Second Amendment, to remove their firearms to keep from them harming themselves or another person. It also allows for the police to make a determination that someone who may be mentally ill, who's off their medication, who could potentially be dangerous, be relieved of their firearms as well. It's becoming a very necessary law, although the state of Indiana enacted this legislation in 2005. But in light of all of the school shootings and other types of situations where mental illness appears to be a factor, it's becoming more and more important that we identify so-called red flags or reasons to believe that someone may be a danger to themselves or someone else and take action before it happens.
You know, I thought I saw recently that in a kind of a surprise move that the NRA was supporting some of these red flag laws. Is that true?
I believe so. I mean, it's the red flag laws are not provisions that address gun possession in and of itself. It really addresses the issue of dangerous persons that may have access to weaponry before they use it. And so this is identifying potential bad actors. Now, the savings grace that would allow even the most ardent gun supporters to be supportive of red flag laws is it is consistent with due process. So it's not a matter of identifying someone who may be a danger to themselves or others with a gun and just taking the gun, but you have to go to court and be able to validate the taking before a judge. And if not able to do so, the gun is returned. If able to do so, then authorities may maintain possession of the weapon until furtherance of that statute down the road. So it does have the opportunity to be heard, but it also addresses situations, Jim, like domestic squabbles, where temperatures are hot, and oftentimes the emotion runs into violence. And if you can remove a gun from a domestic situation or any type of a situation that appears to be at a boiling point, even for a few hours, that oftentimes can save a life.
Let's look at the Travis Reinking situation. Now, in that situation, they were able to get the guns away from him, but perhaps the dad circumvented that and made them available to him. Is there anything that the red flag laws can do in this situation?
Well, the one thing we have to understand, Jim, is that for everything that we can do to put up a block on bad or dangerous activity, there's always something else. There's no perfect solution, and the best that we can do is identify appropriate ways that we can try to put stopgaps into the system. There's ways to break it down over and over. So when you say, is there anything that we can do, I'm always cautious about trying to address every conceivable opportunity, because it would be virtually impossible. We do live in a free society, and in that free society, there are certain risks. So we have to, under the law, identify ways in which we can take action that may engage taking of some of your personal liberties in some cases, but we want to make sure that we don't try to take all of your personal liberties. And it's a very delicate balance indeed.
We're talking to Attorney General Curtis Hill. Of course, he's basically the top lawyer for the state of Indiana. Attorney General, where'd you go to college?
Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana.
What'd you major in? SPIA?
No, I was a business marketing.
Business marketing?
Business.
And
I was at the IU School of Business before Mr. Kelly signed the check.
Really? So you were IU School of Business before it was Kelly?
Exactly.
And then you went to law?
I went to law school, yes.
And where'd you go to law school?
Bloomington.
Oh, so you
Indiana University.
So
yes,
you're bleeding the red, or was it crimson and cream? And
I was there.
All right. So I went to school out west, and I went to school at in Berkeley, and so I'm well aware of the kind of activist nature of that area, both Oakland, San Francisco, Berkeley, even Silicon Valley now in some instances. And the activism there coming out of the cities of San Francisco and Oakland is that they're trying to go after some of these energy and manufacturing companies for a variety of issues. Some of them are located in California, some are not. And it looks like some of the other states aren't real happy about this, Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, and so forth. Looks like you joined this coalition fighting San Francisco and Oakland. You want to tell us about it?
Well, yes. In fact, we're leading the coalition.
Oh, okay.
We initiated the action. And what's happening by virtue of this particular suit is a much bigger issue. It's the issue of large municipalities and certainly certain states exerting their control or expected authority over other states. It's a different type of federalism that we're opposing. And what happens is California, by initiating these types of actions and getting them into court, can have a tremendous impact nationally through their court system in California, or even the district courts out west that have a far different viewpoint of commerce and free enterprise than the rest of the nation. And we take the view that we need to take these battles directly online to the state of California when they occur, so we can try to stop it there. Already we have copycat lawsuits being filed in municipalities in Colorado and in New York, and it's getting to the point where these particular states think that they can set the footprint or set the objectives for the rest of the country. So I think it's imperative, and I think you see with the states that have joined us, that we're going to oppose these measures and really focus on the rule of law as it should be, that states have the ability to address regulatory authority in their own states, but when it comes to what goes on in other states, there has to be a degree of cooperation and not forced mandates by various localized courts.
Okay, so I understand that legal argument, but I think effectively, if I understand this, San Francisco and Oakland are concerned about climate change, and specifically how climate change may be causing the sea levels to rise. Well, they're on the sea levels. What do you want them to do?
Well, I think that the issue is whether it should be a matter of suing companies and making the issue a decision that a court handles, or is it an issue that the California legislature deals with from a political policy standpoint, or the California representatives to the Congress and to the Senate? These are matters that certainly ought to be addressed in their proper form, but what we're seeing these days is more and more of an effort to make the court system the absolute power of our three-tiered system, our executive, legislative, and judicial branch. Those systems are supposed to be equal. And what we're finding from states like California and states like New York is an effort, in my belief, to push political decisions that should be made by lawmakers and legislators into the hands of activist courts to make determination of political policy.
So can I ask you a direct question? Where do you stand on the existence of climate change?
I have not studied climate, the issue of climate change in the sense of addressing who's to blame, who's not, does it exist, does it not. I know that those are there are various factions in that field. From my standpoint, I certainly believe in preserving our most wonderful asset of a world, which is making sure that we have clean water, clean air. I certainly favor any types of activities that we can reasonably take to control pollution and other types of activities that would be degradating to our planet. So the idea of it being an either-or proposition, that you're either that you believe in climate change, or you don't believe in climate change, or you believe in cleaning the earth or not. I don't get caught up in the weeds of those types of things, because I think that those are very polarizing issues. What I really think we should be doing is looking for alternative sources of energy where we can. We need to also balance those competing sources of energy with the economic realities of cost in terms of what's available to us. For example, wind and solar are very much going to be the future of our energy needs. But until we get to a point where we can, where the costs of securing and passing out those energy sources is in line with what our current sources are in terms of fossil fuels, we have to be mindful of the economic balances there. I think we will hit these points quite naturally, and I think it's something that we absolutely have to do.
All right, we're talking to Attorney General Curtis Hill. You got a minute or two just to kind of chew the cud here?
Sure.
Hey, so how's Donald Trump doing as a president?
In what sense?
I mean, just when you I guess looking at some of the things that you've done, you tend to speak your mind, and you hired Mary Beth Bonaventura, which was kind of a statement in a weird way. You don't seem to be backing down against anybody. I'm just wondering, let's ask it from this angle. What do you think of his style and somewhat, just not of a predictable nature? How do you handle that?
Well, it's interesting. I think the fact that he has an unpredictable nature is both a huge advantage and somewhat distracting. The unpredictability of him, just in the general sense, is something that's very refreshing, and also from the standpoint of his business acumen in terms of making decisions quickly. I don't think we've ever seen, at least in the modern era, someone in his position moving as quickly as he moves on decisions, and almost so quickly that by the time you want to go after what he did yesterday, he's moved on to something tomorrow, and good luck keeping up. That's pushing an agenda in Washington, which we haven't seen in quite some time. Sort of very, very positive steps. Unfortunately, there are some distractions that I think take away from some of the key successes. America has been in need of a fresh look at how we do politics, and I think he presents that fresh look. Now, having said that we need a fresh look, it doesn't mean that everything that he does is always something that we want to see. And I would like to see a bit of a difference in style. I think many of us would. So there's some positives in terms of what he's doing, and then there's some negatives in terms of how he's doing it. But he clearly is having an impact. He's having an impact that was hard to imagine when he first got into the race, hard to imagine even when he won. So I think it's certainly an interesting watch, to say the least.
One other thing, a couple of people texted me, and I forgot to ask you this last time. Sopko and Pfister, the former administrators here at Munster, Marissa McDermott basically had a law judgment here, basically saying that it's going to be difficult to try to get $850,000 out of them. Where's that thing set right now with you?
We are looking at addressing that from an appeal standpoint. We don't think that the decision that was made in that particular case was well-founded, and we're in the process of, we're beyond our review. I think we're in the process of an appeal to address that. There were resources that were unjustly garnered by a couple of individuals by our account, and some of the reliance that the court made in that case suggested a statute of limitations that just does not fly with what we believe is the current Indiana law. So we're going to continue pursuing that and making sure that we can get the resources of the state of Indiana back where they belong.
He is the Attorney General of the state of Indiana, Curtis Hill. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you, Jim. Take care.
Talk to you. There it is, guys. Be right back here on the voice and face of the region.
John Salzader, Democratic candidate for North Township Advisory Board. You have heard me on these airways before talking about my family charity, its events, and the groups it supports. Now I've decided to run for your North Township Board. I am well qualified and ready to work for you. Elect John Salzader.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect John Salzader.
Looking to advance your career? Earn a master's degree in technology online in just 18 months from Purdue University Northwest. Our graduates tell us their master's degree in technology, leadership, and management results in promotion and higher pay. Call Purdue Northwest at 219-989-2966. That's 219-989-2966 to get ahead today.
On May 8th, vote for Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz for Lake County Clerk of Circuit Courts. Andrew is a qualified Democrat and has 12 years of experience as a councilman in Maryville at every facet of government. Make your vote count with Andrew Silvestrowitz for Clerk of Circuit Courts. Paid for by committee to elect Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz.
I am Andrew Silvestrowitz, and I approve this message.
Now, up to the tap, Mr. Fun! Johnny's Tap, now serving a variety of local beers, including Three Floyds, Byway Brewing, New Overfalls, and Zorn.
That's it. I'm listening to the voice in my head. I'm thirsty, and I want to watch baseball. I'm heading to Johnny's Tap at 8050 Calumet Avenue in Munster. They have 12 beers on tap to choose from.
Johnny's Tap, the home of Mr. Fun since 1956. New ownership and now smoke-free. Join us for Mix It Monday, Taco and Tequila Tuesday, Whiskey Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, and Fireball Friday. Johnny's Tap.
I'm Jim Diedlow, host of JED in the Region. Thanks for joining us here on the voice and face of the region, and also on the TuneIn app. My brother's listening right now from Columbus, Ohio, along with a bunch of other people. And then you can watch us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we're really creating a force here at the Purdue Northwest Commercialization Center, kind of a home, a video home for Northwest Indiana. And you can join us anytime. Let's take a look at traffic starting at Cicero on 294. It's a pretty bad ride up to the O'Hare right now. And sorry about that. 80 going east and west looks good. To Bishop Ford, a little bit of tightness starting 115th up to about 87th. and that is, kind of a minor watch to Bishop Ford. Well, it's about normal, actually. Skyway and Toll Road look pretty good. Borman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue are all moving along pretty well. And traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. And terms of weather, this one brought to you by Laborers Local 41, of which I am a proud alum, right here at the Purdue Northwest Commercialization Center, the Strachan Van Til Studios. It's only 41 degrees right now. Looks pretty nice out to the east. We got clouds and sun all day long. So Lexus and I walked around Wicker Park yesterday. It looked a lot warmer than it was. If you get out on the tundra right about Indianapolis and Ridge Road, believe me, there was no four-stroller backup at the corner of Indianapolis and Ridge yesterday in front of the War Memorial, as it was just chilly, and the only people out were kind of the seasoned walkers and bike riders. There weren't a lot of kids out there. But I did notice there was this one couple that had made their kids walk all the way around Wicker Park. That was kind of cool. A high of 51, cool with clouds and sun. And then tomorrow, a high of 62, partly sunny. And then Friday, a high of 60, partial sunshine. And we go into the weekend, some sunshine pretty much for 5 days. And, man, I don't know about you. I could really use it. And in your soul, you can feel it coming our way. Weather, this brought to you there by Laborers 41. Before we go to our next guest, which is Regina Biddings-Muro, we're going to talk a little bit about Purdue Northwest. Let's get all of the Purdue Northwest news out in one little block here. Ryan Walsh was on the call yesterday for a doubleheader from Dowling Park. And, Ryan, it looks like the first game came down to pretty close. It was a close game, right?
The first game Sam Michael did with Chris Gabor, it was a 6-1 win for Purdue Northwest.
Oh, so it was the second game this happened.
Yeah, the second game was the close one. But the first game, it was a game where Purdue Northwest had control for most of the game. They had a couple of great defensive plays that backed up their pitching. And second game, Purdue Northwest, they led from the beginning of the first inning on. They were winning 3-0 going into the seventh inning. And Indianapolis got a run, and then with one away, they had runners on second and third, and a big play. That's what decided the game.
All right, let's show this play right now here on our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. This is who's the third baseman? His name?
Mike Mikulich.
Mike Mikulich is at third base with second and third in the final inning.
This made TV today, and
it made Sports Center this morning.
Number 9.
Our feed that you guys could have watched yesterday, and you could go watch again right now. We're doing all these games. You guys need to come out to these Division II baseball games at Dowling Park and or watch them on the WJOB feed. This is what you saw on Sports Center this morning. Hit it.
Caught and tagging third base. A freaky play by Mikulich. Game over, Pride win. Double play on a wild snag, and everybody off the bench.
All right, Ryan Walsh makes Sports Center for the first time.
Well, the guy talked over me. I'm faint in the background. But...
No, you could hear your call in the back. A freaky play! They let that come through just a little bit. Ryan Walsh on Sports Center because of Purdue Northwest and Mike Mikulich's play. Way to go, man.
Yeah, it was a great day yesterday. The weather was cooperating with us. A couple local guys, Kevin McCune from Andrain, had an RBI in the second game. Alex Batistados, who's a Hobart graduate, was the one that got the win in the second game. A lot of local guys on the team, and Mike Mikulich, he's from Hebron. We did a couple of his high school games over the past few years because Hebron always makes regionals for baseball.
You know, it really is, we've been so excited. Obviously, we're just like sports people here, and we're on the campus. And, we took a beating during some of the other sports. I mean, to beat University of Indianapolis in a doubleheader at home is a big deal. I mean, they're usually pretty solid. They put people into the pros in the past. And the softball teams over the weekend, and they swept the doubleheader. I think they split both doubleheaders over the weekend at home. I did the one on Saturday, and I can't tell you how
they swept Saginaw Valley on Monday.
Yeah, they swept Saginaw Valley on Monday. That's what it was. So they won the last 4 out of the 6 games here in the GLIAC, and this is a first-year team at Division II level at the GLIAC conference level. And any of you folks that are coaches of youth teams, you need to bring your teams out to see how it's really played at a high level. It's a true gem that really hasn't been discovered quite yet. I think I didn't see any girls softball teams out there watching these games over the weekend, and that's a travesty. You guys that are really trying to take your girls to the next level, you got to see that the level above you, what they're reaching for, because they're bringing in teams that are right there at the top of the country in Division II NCAA. And yesterday with the University of Indianapolis, it was a big day. Nice call on that, Ryan.
Well, thank you. And also another local guy, I forgot to mention that, had a couple of hits and great plays at shortstop is John Corey, Lowell.
Wayne Duncanson's grandkid, yeah. So there you go. And the local pool on these teams is pretty strong. I mean, you had the Whiting, Brandy, I forget her name, Courtwell or whatever.
Courtney Blackwell.
Courtney Blackwell. Anyways, Courtney Blackwell out of Whiting is one of the top pitchers for Purdue Northwest, and you get to see her on a regular basis. And then you've got Kevin McCune over there coming out of Andrain.
Yeah, Jimmy Skiff's on the team as well. I mean, those are kids that have state championships under their belts playing for Andrain. I mean, that translates to the next level because winning doesn't stop.
And anybody that has kids that are coming up, in the old days, hey, I want my kid to go to IU or I want my kid to go play baseball at North Carolina or whatever. Let me tell you what, right now Dave Griffin and Nikki Stansel are really putting together some big teams. Brian made Sports Center today, everybody.
Thank you.
Freaky play! Would you say freaky catch? Freaky
play, I think.
Yeah, so basically the guy pulled it down the third base line. And if it goes through, both those runs score. And
looking at extra innings.
Looking at extra innings or even losing the game. And Mikulik picks it up, tags the base, and in a crazy play. As a matter of fact, we had a softball play that was just like that. Tessa Steffens was very similar with that in the softball, where she dove, and as she landed on second base with her mitt, which is exactly what Mikulik did. And Jimmy Mulaney's showing it again. Jimmy, we got to hear that call one more time, all right? Can we do it one more time? Here it is. I want to hear Ryan's call on this on Sports Center.
Caught and tagging third base. A freaky play by Mikulich. Game over, Pride win. Double play on a wild snag, and everybody off the bench.
I mean,
good call, man. And you can't fully hear it on Sports Center, but you hear freaky. So way to go. All right, go ahead.
Just a perfect extension. I mean, the ball took him right to the line on the bag, and that runner, I mean, he's just thinking get home, and it's just a look of just respect that he gives to Mikulich for making that play.
All right, man. You guys got to watch it. I think can we put it in our Facebook feed or in our Twitter feed so that we can link to it so people can watch it?
Jimmy says yeah.
Jimmy's going to put it on the Facebook feed if you want to see Mikulich's play. I think it's a Sports Center clip. So, or no, it's a Purdue Northwest clip. So we could put that in our feed. And let's go and talk a little bit about what's going on today. That was a little bit of a PR move there to get you guys to reach into your pockets today, because guess what today is? Regina Biddings-Murrow is going to tell us. What's today, Regina?
Hey, Jim and Ryan. I am so thrilled that today is Purdue Northwest Day of Giving, and thank you so much for the perfect lead-in to the awesomely exciting work that our intercollegiate athletics director, Rick Costello, I'm going to tell you what, Jim, I don't know if you remember, but I do. I remember a time when people used to talk about our university as this really well-kept secret, right? And that's changing. And I've got to thank you, Jim, and Ryan, and your whole crew for, letting the secret out of the bag. That Purdue Northwest is on the move. We are absolutely knocking it out of the park, no pun intended, given the great play. And I did see that on your feed, Jim, so thank you for that.
It really is it's kind of I'm not altogether sure Purdue Cal or Purdue Northwest ever made like Sports Center, but it just isn't it's a testament. You know, and I know Regina, you follow the sports, but we live it, and our baseball and softball is already at the level of Division II right now. Some of the other sports are coming up, and it's just a joy. I mean, you and I have both been around the university, but to see this surge in athletics is really a point of pride right now.
Absolutely, Jim, you are spot on, and I'm going to start right there. I know that you've got so many fantastic things happening on the show. Here's what I want to say first and foremost. Today is a chance for everybody within the sound of our voices, especially if you have a Purdue Northwest degree. Let us show our pride today, because here's the thing. We're in this friendly competition, Jim, with our colleagues at West Lafayette, and I don't know, I think even Indianapolis may be getting in on some of this, but we're really all about participation. Jim, I'm going to tell you right here, right now, before this thing closes, which will be at 11 o'clock tonight, we're going to raise more than $1 million. We're going to do this year, and in this single day of giving, and it's because not only are our graduates, but our friends, the business community around us, those who have an interest in Purdue Northwest being successful, they are contributing. And just to give you a quick update, at last look on the leaderboard, which you can see on the home page of the Purdue Northwest website, so far, since this started, we've got $143,000 raised and 232 donors. And we're competing on both counts. And every donation, no matter what size, counts to help us at Purdue Northwest. You can go right onto the website. It's super simple at pnw.edu. And the front page of the website gives you the instructions. And we really want to let the rest of the state and the nation know that the pride is on the move. All of our donations will help our student athletes, those fantastic young men from yesterday and the young women who are on the softball team, and all of the other 13 sports that we've got going at Purdue Northwest benefit from the gifts that are made to our athletics program to attract that fantastic talent, pulling together those kind of plays that we saw yesterday, and we will continue to see from our women and men who take the field and represent us in a big, big way. It puts our whole community on the map. It gets people thinking positive things about what is going on in Northwest Indiana. And I am over the moon. You know, Jim, having deep roots like you do, living right here, people probably said years ago this kind of a day never would come for a university like ours. And we are so on the move right now. And it really is a community effort. And here's the day to show your pride. So donate at pnw.edu for Purdue Northwest Day of Giving.
Give a little bit more detail. Say somebody clicks make a gift. What happens?
So it will take you right to the screen, and there are 11 different categories in particular that we are promoting because we know, especially our graduates, they really maybe want to support their particular school or their particular program. And, of course, you can contribute directly to athletics. You can contribute to the College of Business, the College of Engineering and Sciences, the College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences. And, Jim, I'm sure Chancellor Keon has been on the program to talk about this fabulous new building that's going to be going up on the south side of campus, our Bioscience Innovation Building. You can make a contribution to support that effort, the College of Nursing, the College of Technology, our Honors College, and we are thrilled to be adding to the donation lineup the Gabus Arboretum at Purdue Northwest, our newest family member due to a generous gift from Rita and Damian Gabus. The Gabus Arboretum also you can contribute because this is indeed an auxiliary to the university that stands on its own 2 feet. And, of course, our Purdue Northwest Sinai Forum. That Sinai Forum also operates completely because of the generosity of donors. And you probably already heard this year's headline speaker will be former FBI Director Jim Comey, and the whole lineup is going to be a blockbuster season. So many wonderful things at Purdue Northwest. The community can get involved in donating and in supporting, and today is a day because those gifts also earn us challenge prizes for participation as well as for dollar amounts in those categories. And so, no matter what it is you feel you really want to support, you can do that today.
All right, guys. Like Regina is saying, whatever the amount is, it can be very minuscule, or if you can, or if you're an alum, today's the day to do it. You just log on and give some money. All you got to do is put your name in there, and let's see, what are your options here at the bottom. And they ask you a couple of questions, and then you put your card in, and then you've given some money for Purdue Northwest. It's kind of weird. It happens on a day when Purdue Northwest makes Sports Center for the very first time. How's that? Hopefully that is worth a few $1,000s just by that in and of itself.
Exactly. And, especially anybody who is an athletics enthusiast and you live in Northwest Indiana, let me tell you something. Our campuses in Westville and in Hammond are absolutely beautiful and becoming more so. A real point of pride for the whole community, no matter where you may have graduated. If you live here and you have a family here and you believe that, you want to keep the community strong, this is just one of many ways that you can do that. Just, again, a very modest contribution. It is that we're trying to help our students in every possible way, but participation basically shows that, hey, I believe in our community and I want to keep it strong. So, we would be delighted if individuals and organizations get together and, let's show them what we're made of in Northwest Indiana and support Purdue Northwest Day of Giving.
And if you are an organization or a company, or you're a larger donor, or to be honest with you, you're putting together your will and you're trying to figure out where it's going to go when you're done, you can just call Regina directly and she'll work with you. She works with a lot of donors that have more complicated issues, or some of the larger donors. She'll work with you directly, and you could call Regina at, what's the office number over there, Regina?
You can call me at 219-989-2323. That's 219-989-2323, and that's directly right into my office there in institutional advancement. And Jim, I got to tell you, there's a lot of fun activity happening on campus today. My entire staff is spread out all over the place. We've got headquarters set up both in Hammond as well as in Westville at the Hammond campus. You can find us in the Student Union and Library Building. Lots of excitement will be going on right around the middle of the day today. So if you want to pop on over, Jim, and send your folks, there'll be all kinds of fun and goodies. And on our Westville campus, we'll be in the Library Student Faculty Building, or LSF as we like to call it, about that same time of day. Come on over and have some fun with us. And it's just a really good opportunity to see the campus if you haven't. We would always love for you to see us. Folks who might have graduated with me, my classmates, or those even since then, let me tell you, you will not recognize the campus. We have grown, changed. So many things have been improved, remodeled, refurbished. I mean, it's just, the list is too long. But if you're in the area and you want to stop on over at any time, you will be very proud of your university. If you're a graduate like I am, and if you are not a graduate, but you're in the community at any time, you're welcome. We are delighted to be a part of both Westville and the city of Hammond. Mayor McDermott has been a fantastic partner to us as well. And I know he doesn't mind when the baseball team gets some attention either.
You got it. Hey, I want to give a quick plug here. Of course, Regina and I worked together here at WJOB in the mid-1980s, and we are putting together a whole new group of broadcasters of the future. And tonight is the final, the last group. They'll be going on from 6 until 8 tonight, and they will be live sports talk for 2 hours. And I put out the shameless plug, folks. They love when people call in on their shows. They've been working all semester to get to the point where They know how to come in and out of breaks. They know what to say. They know how to look at the cameras. It's going to be totally produced by students, and that's from 6 to 8 tonight. And I would ask anybody to either watch it or to listen and call in to those students. So we'll also mention Purdue Day of Giving on that show also. All right, Regina,
Jim,
anything else?
Jim, you're the best. Thank you so very much for supporting our students in that way. You and I both know that those kinds of experiences for our students are life-changing. I know it was for me back in the day at WJOB, and here you are. You and Alexis own the place, and it's just it is the most meaningful experience that, of course, students have to learn in the classroom, but I'm going to tell you what, that kind of experience, very hard to put a value on it because it is life-altering. And, Jim, I really want to thank you for helping to give our students the space and the encouragement to do that. And it's just another reason that WJOB and Purdue Northwest go together like peanut butter and jelly.
You got it. One day we're going to do a reminiscing thing. But Regina was on. She was producing the show the very first day I did a talk show. And we will talk about that one day. Thanks a lot, Regina.
Jim, thank you so much, Jim. And Purdue Northwest Day of Giving, the Pride is going to knock it out of the park. Help us raise that $1 million, pnw.edu. Thank you so much, Jim.
Talk to you, Regina.
Bye-bye.
There you go, guys. $20, whatever it is. I mean, especially for, what? There's a lot of little choices along this thing, and I'm not going to tell you which one to choose. You want to donate to nursing or to business school or whatever, or the Gavis Arboretum, but there's one here that says Purdue Northwest Athletics, and I just pointed out because it's right there, and Ryan announced the game yesterday. Ryan got on SportsCenter today. Did you see that? And so did Purdue Northwest
Baseball. I just saw that.
Isn't that crazy? A freaky great play!
I don't watch SportsCenter anymore, but
I do.
I don't.
Why not? What's wrong with you?
It's great that they're showing Northwest Indiana, but typically if it's not a Yankees or a Boston game, I don't need to listen to a bunch of snobby Easterners tell me about life.
He's Dave Kuziak, and he's always got an opinion.
Hey, did you? I was listening to people earlier today, and Mark Chase saying that people don't put their names. For the next hour, it's going to be very simple whose name it is. It's mine. I don't use anyone else's name.
Dave Kuziak's going to buy this time, and he buys it so basically he can talk to you guys directly.
Hey, can I say something about the Times, though, before? They've got the nerve to tell people about how to do things. As many years as they've been carrying water for the politicians who they've chosen.
Hey, you know what? You're going to have a whole hour
I'm just saying.
here.
I
mean,
I just find it so funny that the high. My old man used to say, "Be careful when you're pooping in that high cotton." You start getting on that high.
It's not what he used to say.
Said, but
I've heard him. I heard him say it, Kuziak.
When you're,
and that ruins the whole thing.
It's so funny that the high horse that they get on at the Times. And I could just go point by point on every hypocritical stance that they take for them to start telling people about this or that.
Hey, Kuz, can we do this?
Yeah, let's have.
You got a full hour to do what you want to do, and
let's talk about SportsCenter.
No, I want to go eat. And I'm like, I've already talked.
Hey, are you going to the big event on Friday?
Oh yes, I forgot. And we have Mike Whalen or somebody calling in tomorrow or Friday to promote.
We're gonna have a good time.
The big event, Bishop Knoll's big fundraiser, is Friday evening.
I want to give special thanks to one of your sponsors that, and I know there's others, but Johnny's Tap donated as part of the beverages there, donated some cases. So we always love that. Everyone helping each other out. So go on over and have some lunch over at Johnny's and tell them thank you if you're a BNI person, because they donated, kicked in, and I'm sure I'll get texts by other businesses. I think Wally does as well. I don't know if Repay does anymore, or if he did. Those used to be, but those guys all used to kick in.
Johnny's has become quite the sponsor here at WJOB, and
you have to be a part of the community if you want to be a community business.
Yeah, I mean they're right there at Broadmoor, and Matt Kuziak and I are well familiar with Johnny's Tap, as we both grew up right behind it, kind of. And
I used to walk in there when I was 18 years old and cop some beer, and then the next day, I'd go in and he's like, I need to see your ID. I'm like, you served me yesterday. Remember Tommy? He'd sit on the corner. For those people, he'd sit in the little corner there. That was quite an establishment back in the day.
You know, back in the day, it was more of it's not a dive bar anymore.
No, it's not. It's not at all. And I don't know if I'm going to
to.
continue to go there. I typically like to drink and dive, so it's getting to be too nice for me.
No, that is not the case. It's just got a good old homey
I'm just
feel. But
joking.
Kuziak,
he's rehabbed it, and it's good. And they're kicking out into the they had that. I shouldn't use alley. They don't want cars driving through there anymore, so they're popping that open, and they're going to be putting tables and chairs on the north side of that building, in between Johnny's and the barber shop there.
So here's what's going to happen. We will be able to sit outside and his car stop on Calumet Avenue for the light. We'll just be able to talk to him.
Crap, which is what
get you and your Illinois license plate. Get the hell out of here.
I gotta get this call. Hold on.
Okay. Kuziak's got a business call, so it's going to take him a little bit. But to finish up here, I want to give you guys some traffic and weather. 294 is not very conducive to going up to O'Hare. You're okay to get to Cicero. But if you're going to go anywhere past Cicero, it's going to be a problem. And I don't know why it's stop and go, but it is for several miles. 80 going east-west looks good. The Bishop Ford's is getting bad. It's bad, say, around Dalton Avenue. It's okay over the Steel Bridge, but once you come on the backside of it, it's bad all the way up that and up to Dan Ryan. So try to not go that way. You can do the Skyway and the toll road and pay the money, but once you hit the Dan Ryan, it's bad 47th on in. And then Skyway, toll road, Barman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. And traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda. What do you have in terms of the weather around here? It's really sunny out and a beautiful thing to the east right now, but it's only 41 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. Don't forget a one-day sale at Strachan Van Til stores. Tide liquid laundry detergent, $8.88 each. And then that ought to do it for me. I do want to point out that 1 Million Cups is today, and our own Sam Michael will be hosting that on Facebook Live. That's done right here at the Purdue Northwest Commercialization Center. I don't know who's presenting, but if you are interested in the local entrepreneurial community, you're going to want to come to the center here, right where WJOB is. Sam Michael, of course, you'll hear him in the afternoon here today. He was on the call with Ryan yesterday for the doubleheader out at Purdue Northwest. We're just thrilled like pigs in slop about all of the great athletics that are going on here at Purdue Northwest, and it's pretty cool that the softball teams and the baseball teams are winning so many games. It really helps the morale. A lot of the other sports, as we had moved into Division II, we're not doing nearly as well, but it just has brought a smile to a lot of faces. But 1 Million Cups will be today at 9, and that'll be in the adjoining studio on the other side of the wall here. So Kuziak and them, remember when Kuziak got in, we were all trying to use the same studio. We moved 1 Million Cups away because Kuziak is so difficult to deal with at times. All right, Matt Reardon, the economic development guru, and a very keyed up Dave Kuziak right after this on the voice and face of the region.
Laborers Local 41, together with Indiana Laborers Training Center and our signatory